Welcome to Brag Radio, which is all about being rich and generous. Every week, your hosts Kandas and best-selling author Larry Goins will show you how to be rich and generous by investing in real estate. Broadcasting around the world on the Brag Radio Network from the flagship station WBT in beautiful uptown Charlotte, here are your hosts, the rock stars of real estate, Kandas and Larry.
What's happening? How you doing?
What was that muscle pose right there for the rock stars?
I don't know.
Rock stars are muscular.
Anything but, right? That's
and
funny.
This is brag.
We be bragging. That's what we need. That's the kind of shirts we need. We be bragging.
No.
You don't
it's
think
not.
so?
No, I don't. No, we have some shirts in the works right now, actually. And we're supposed to get, what is it called? Not test shirts, but mock-up shirts. Thank you, Lynn.
Mock-ups.
Yes,
That's
we're
awesome.
supposed to get those. They're supposed to be in next week.
Really?
Actually. Mm-hmm.
That's great. I didn't know anything about that.
No.
Did I approve that?
No. They were free, so you didn't have to.
Oh, good. We'll take all of those.
We have a company that's wanting to do them for us, so
That's great.
obviously not all of them for free, but
Right.
they're trying to get us. So
That's good. So, Happy New Year, Merry New Year. We're, well into January, right?
yeah,
Yeah. What?
nothing.
You made it sound like I
Just
thought it
looking
was
at you.
January 1.
I didn't say a word. I
No,
just
you didn't.
looked at you.
You just looked at me like,
That's
hey.
what's scary. I'm looking, and you can. Yeah, I don't like the fact that you can read my mind sometimes. We think the same things.
That's a scary place in there.
Seriously, we're gonna do this right now.
All right, so what are we going to talk about? January's almost half over.
Foundations. Let's talk about foundations. Not of a
Foundations.
house, but like of business.
Right? Really?
Yeah. Why
All
not?
right. So,
Well, we're getting started. Everybody's kind of getting restarted with everything, and you've got to have a solid base. You got to have a solid foundation.
you're
yes, you
absolutely
do,
right.
Candace.
You're absolutely right. I'm taking notes on stuff. I mean, you just spring this stuff on me. Larry, we're going to talk about foundations. Let's talk about foundations. Not on houses, but on real estate. What do you need to build a strong real estate business?
Hey, I'm all
There is a
about the
D in
business
business.
right now. No, there's not. There in the Larryism, there is.
There's a D in business.
No, there's not.
We got a real estate business.
I swear.
All right, so we're going to talk about foundations today, apparently. So,
Do you have a better idea?
no, I think
Do you
it's a
have a
great
better
idea. I think it's a great idea. All your ideas are great, Candace.
Well, I can't take all the credit.
Anyway. So, guys, when you're starting out in real estate, it's like any other business that you do need to build your business on a strong foundation. And there's a lot of things that you need that goes into real estate, just like any other business. For example, the very first thing you need to think about is your entity structure, okay? You don't want to be buying and selling, flipping houses or keeping rental properties in your personal name or even in what's called a sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is an entity that, like, let's say you have maybe a convenience store. Well, those are pretty high risk too, so you wouldn't want one of those in a sole proprietorship. But let's say you work on vacuum cleaners, okay? Or you... whatever.
How did that come to mind? You don't even operate a vacuum cleaner.
Well, my cousin used to have a vacuum shop, and my daughter
This
just
gets
texted
better
me
and
and
better.
my daughter just texted me and said, "I'm buying a new vacuum cleaner. Mine's shot." So it just popped in my head.
Okay, great.
So,
Let's go with
anyway.
it. Let's roll with it.
Anyway, let's say you have a vacuum cleaner shop, right? You could run that as a
Sure.
sole proprietorship because there's not a lot of risk and, people coming in and tripping over vacuum cleaners and stuff like that, right? So you could run that as a sole proprietorship because basically sole proprietorship, it means you're operating in your own personal name, right?
Right.
And if, like, let's say you had a rental property in your own personal name, okay? And let's say there was a sidewalk that there's a break in the sidewalk and it froze or something and it created a trip hazard, right? As concrete does,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So if you can see, it'll create a trip hazard. So basically, what will happen is if they tripped and fell and you had it in your own personal name, then the problem is is they could sue you personally, right? They could sue you personally because it's in your own personal name. They tripped and fell. Maybe it busted their head. Maybe who knows? Maybe they got paralyzed. Who knows what could happen,
Go
right?
to such extremes.
Well, I know.
That's
but
so weird.
anyway. But
Paralyzed from a sidewalk crack. It's terrible. Terrible news.
Okay, let's say one of your tenants was throwing a crack party. What is that? Is there such a thing? I don't know. What kind of part, Chad? You caught right onto that.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that such a thing?
I've never been to one.
All right, let's say one of your tenants is
What's happening to the show?
throwing a party. Okay. Let's say one of your tenants is throwing a party. Okay. And somebody, maybe there's like 20 or 30 people there, and they all go out on the deck, and the deck is built for like 5 to 10 people, and there's 20 or 30 people out on the deck, and the deck falls and crashes, and they get hurt, right?
Yes.
So now what you gonna do? If it was in your own personal name, they could sue you personally. They could come after your car, your home, all your personal assets. They could get a personal judgment against you. All that stuff, right?
Right.
So you want to make sure you build your business on a strong foundation and have entities, right? Have the right kind of entities. There's corporations, there's LLCs, and then they can be taxed different ways,
Right.
In real estate, just like in any other business, you need to make sure you have the right person setting up your entities, okay? And we have people that we work with that we can refer you to and help you with that help us and help our students. But, for example, if you're buying and selling, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, like you're doing day trading, like the book, Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading, right?
Available wherever books are sold or by calling 877-LARRY-GO.
Wow, that was good. So, if you that's a good book too, if I say so
Shameless
myself.
plug.
So, anyway, what was I talking about?
Structures, entity structuring.
Okay, if you have a buy-sell business, you want to keep that business in a separate entity than your buy and hold business. Okay, and your buy and hold is not even really business; it's an investment, right? You want to do business in one entity and have investments in another entity. Right?
Okay.
There's a lot of risk in a buy, sell, right? There's liability for different reasons. And there's also liability for you're tangled up over here. There's also,
this is going downhill fast. I'm really not sure what's happening to you.
and we only have 2 minutes left in this segment. Thank
Good.
goodness.
You need
We
to
gotta regroup.
You gotta shake off this juju. I don't know what's happening.
Anyway. So you want to have your buy and sell business in a separate entity than your buy and hold investments, okay? And also, depending on the kind of assets you have, you may want to have multiple entities because let's face it, if you owned a mobile home community, right? Mm-hmm. Or in my case, a trailer park. If you owned a trailer park, okay, you want to have that in a separate entity than you would have your other single-family houses or multifamily properties or even commercial real estate. And if you do have commercial real estate, you want to have those in an absolute separate entity, each one of them, just like our office building. It's in a separate entity from everything else that we own, right? Because we occupy some of the space and we rent out some of the space. And they can come take a tour as well, right?
That's right. Is this some kind of another plug? You want me to talk about the books again? Or how about the office tour? Let me talk about the office tour.
That'll work in the last 50 seconds we have.
We do have the ability for you guys to come by and take an office tour. If you give me a call at 877-LARRY-GO, I can get you out a copy of the Investor's Kit to your email. Or if you're close enough to the office, which is in Lake Wiley, you can come by and pick up the physical version of that kit. It's got the Day Trader book, the HUD book, a couple DVDs, CDs, and things like that. If it's the digital version, then it's links to all of that stuff. Same thing in both kits. Just physical version available at the office and digital version available in the email. 877-LARRY-GO. Welcome back. Bragg Radio, investing in real estate to be rich and generous. This is Kandas.
And Larry.
If you guys weren't with us for the first segment of the show and just joining us now, we're talking about
Vacuum cleaner stores.
and crack parties, apparently. You never know what you're going to get on this show. I swear. It's supposed to be about real estate, and I guess to have a crack party, you're in a house, right? So we'll cover it that way.
You never had tenants that had crack parties?
I have not had tenants that had crack parties.
You can get good rent from tenants that throw crack parties. And it's cash.
That's what I was getting ready to say. It's all cash.
That's a joke, people. That's a joke. Please don't send hate mail, okay? I understand it's illegal. I get it, and it's wrong, right?
We don't do it. You just got invited, right?
That's not even funny.
Oh, it's hilarious.
You're just having a little fun at my expense.
It's hilarious.
As my son would say. Mm-hmm. Hilarious.
So we were supposed to be talking about a strong foundation for your real estate business.
That's true, and that's what we're talking about, a strong foundation. And start with asset protection and entity structuring. That's the number one thing you want to start with, asset protection and entity structuring. And when you call that number, 877-LARRY-GO, and talk to Kandas and get your investor's kit, there's a book in there all about asset protection and entity structuring as well. Right, Kandas?
There sure is.
Absolutely. Stop hitting me. Anyway, so we were talking about entities. You want to have a separate entity for your buy-sell business as you do for your investment business, okay?
Buy, hold, right.
Your buy-hold, right? And also you want to separate your assets out as far – why are you laughing at me?
You talk so much with your hands, and I'm the only one that benefits from it. It's hilarious.
So the camera's not going right now, is it?
That doesn't mean you can flip me off.
Easy now. I wouldn't do that. Anyway, where were we? We were talking about the separate entity, and you want to separate your assets as well. So let's say you have 100 houses. You're not going to have all 100 houses in that one entity. You might have 10 houses in one entity, then another 10 in a different entity, another 10, because if someone trips and falls, right, or they throw a party and somebody gets hurt.
Undisclosed nature.
Right.
And somebody gets hurt.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
So they can only, if the house is in one entity with 10 other houses, it can only affect that one entity.
Correct.
So even though you own all of these different entities with maybe 10 or 8 houses in each one, the problem...
10 or 8? You mean like 7 or 3?
Yeah, something like that. I'm using one of your hilarious... Stop. Anyway, so how, even though you own all of them, how can it only go after the one?
Well, because the other one has nothing to do with it. It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Okay.
You know, let's say you own a convenience store, but you also own a vacuum cleaner shop. If someone gets hurt at the convenience store, they can't sue the vacuum cleaner shop because it's two separate businesses.
As long as
right?
they're in different entities.
As long as they're in different entities, right?
All right.
Same difference as real estate, right? So you want to keep them separate and separate your assets as to your comfort level.
Then
right?
I would think if that's the case with things being able to happen as far as somebody being able to sue you and it affecting all entities or only one entity at a time, that taxes would be the same. But that's not what happens.
Well, different entities are going to be taxed differently the way you set them up. For example, a business, an LLC is a business. That stands for Limited Liability Company. It's typically, as a business, you're going to set that up to be taxed as what's called an S corporation, which means it is a pass-through entity, okay? It is a pass-through entity, all right? But it's going to be taxed differently than, say, what's called a disregarded entity, okay?
Okay.
A disregarded entity typically will be used. Now, that could be an LLC also, but it'll be taxed as a disregarded entity for tax purposes, which means the LLC that is taxed as an S corp, it will file a tax return, okay? Mm-hmm. But the taxes actually flow down to the owner of the entity. based on their percentage ownership. Okay? But a disregarded entity, there's no tax return on that, and it is reported on the individual's personal return, and the income is reported there as well. Just like we do a lot of lending, we also have investments, we have loans, notes, and rental property, commercial and residential, and all those would be a disregarded entity, ideally, right?
Right.
And your business, buy, sell, like our education company, right? The Goins Group. It is an LLC, but it's taxed as an S corporation, right? Because it's a business.
Right. So they're taxed. Like, you can set them up to be taxed different ways. But what I'm talking about is the cash versus accrual basis. Like, once it doesn't, there's no separation of that as long as you're the owner with the cash versus accrual.
Yes, and we just went through this. So what Kandas is talking about is the way your accounting works, which basically leads us into the next thing. You need a good accountant, okay?
Oh, look, I did that all by just accident.
You really did great. You did great. You know, it's just my segueing to make it work, you know, is what happened.
Oh, okay. Let's make it about you. Will you stop? Why are you so violent when the camera's not on?
I'm not violent.
I still have witnesses. Lynn and Chad are still in here.
Anyway. So, what you want to do is you want to have a good accountant person that understands and knows real estate and knows small business, okay? Because that's very, very important. There's certain tax rules and laws and rules and regs, right?
Right.
That you can take advantage of. And listen, the reason for tax laws, all right? The reason for tax laws, the government needs to tax everything and everybody because taxes is the goose that lays the golden egg, right? I mean, we all hate to pay more taxes than we're supposed to, right?
Right.
You have to pay your fair share, but you don't want to pay more than your
Definitely
fair
not.
share, right? And, you know, taxes pay for things like roads and schools and things like that. And I use roads every day, right? Every day. Use roads.
Every day I use roads.
I use roads every day.
Noah goes to school every day.
Right? Yeah, but he goes to a private school.
Well, mine go to public, so I use public schools every day.
But I still have to pay for the public school, right?
Yeah.
I still have to pay for the public school. So anyway, so you got to pay your fair share of taxes, but the way your business is, there's a certain thing out there called method of accounting. And once you start your method of accounting, then you have to stick to it every year after that, right? It's just like if you're doing seller financing, you're doing notes, you can take what's called the installment sale for tax purposes, or if you do enough of them, you're considered a dealer as a business, and then you cannot take the installment sale. You have to pay taxes on the gains right then and there that same year, right?
Right. In the same year. The
same year. And once you reach a certain level, it's either $3 million or $5 million in sales, you then have to go from your method of accounting from the cash basis, meaning you pay taxes based on the bills you pay, literally pay, and you count your income when you receive it. Once you hit 3 to 5 million in sales, then you have to go to what's called the accrual method, which means
it sucks.
That's really what it means. It really does.
It does.
Because you could invoice someone, and then even though thanks, Lynn. It's 1 minute, Chad.
1 minute. Chad, where were you,
Don't
buddy?
forget.
Where was 2? What happened to 2?
I saw 2.
I didn't see 2.
Anyway, so
but I don't pay attention to Chad in his defense.
So what happens is once you hit that accrual method, even if you invoice somebody, let's say you invoice somebody for $50,000 and they don't pay you until the following year, you still have to report that $50,000 as if you received it in income, even though you don't get it until the next year.
That's exactly right. It sucks.
And it does. It's horrible.
This is a soapbox. He gets all passionate about it.
I know, right? So, but anyway, it is what it is, and we don't make the rules. We just have to play by them. Guys, listen, call Kandas right now. Leave her a message, 877-LARRY-GO. She can set up a tour for you to come to the office. She can give you the free investors kit. What else?
Talk to you about the 3-day events that are coming up, our mentoring programs that are available. pretty much anything and everything. Answer any questions that you've got going on or take any show recommendations or what you'd like to hear more of. 877-LARRY-GO or info@bragradio.com. There it goes. Welcome back to Brag Radio.
What's happening? Charlotte and around the world.
This is still the same show. We just left.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right.
We're talking about foundations, not of houses.
Lynn is like, what is going on today? Oh.
There you have it. There you have it. So,
What are you doing?
just knocked
What
my
is
headphones off
happening?
my head. This is
Keep
wrong.
your cord. Keep your cord over there.
They're not going to want to pay us for this show.
Am I going to have to pull this car over?
It feels like we're a bunch of misfits in here. This is our first time.
Lynn, put in a good
We
word
don't know
for
what's
us.
going on.
Make sure we get paid for this show.
We don't know what's happening today. But this is a Saturday from Bizarro World.
I know, right? What's up with that?
Oh,
Crazy.
good grief.
See if you can figure that thing out. Is there a little juber on there?
To one of the least technical people in the room.
All right. So anyway, build your business on a strong foundation, entity structuring, asset protection, and next is tax planning. We talked about tax planning a little bit. We talked about what you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure that you have a good CPA, a good accountant.
Right.
We had an accountant that we worked with for years. He was great. I liked him. I think we just outgrew him. And I think we just outgrew them is all. And
Maybe it's
you
the
know,
stuff
'cause
that
we-
he specialized in.
and maybe
yeah.
so. I mean, different
Could be.
people specialize in different things.
Could be.
Right?
Everybody needs to find their niche.
They
That's
specialize in different things. But now, now, luckily, we found a group that they specialize in real estate, and they also are doing educating as well.
Right.
So they know the industry, they know the business, and so we got that going for us now, right?
I think, yeah. I mean, I really, we've been working with this group for about a year now.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think, I don't have anything negative at all to say about them, but they have really helped us restructure and streamline a lot of stuff that was disorganized in our accounting methods.
Disorganized was a light term.
It's an understatement. It is. I'm trying to
Yeah,
be
it
nice.
was. It was.
But-
It was.
Yeah. But we got that all straightened out now. I feel a lot better about our books, about our accounting method, and about our P&Ls when we look at them and everything like that. So, and it's something too, as far as the accounting department within your business and how accounting just goes in general is something that you've got to keep a really close eye on, because things can get squirrely, things can get hairy without you even realizing it. And then it takes a lot to undo stuff after
That's
a certain
so
amount
true.
of time.
That is so true. That's so true. Now, so we've got entity structuring, asset protection. We've got tax planning
Right.
and tax structuring. You need a good CPA. We can recommend that for you as well.
We sure can.
Yeah, exactly. And next we need to talk about when you're starting your business, okay? When you're starting your business, every business, I don't care what it is, has to have capital, right?
Yep.
Has to have capital. Money, right?
Doesn't mean it has to be yours
Because you got to have money. You got to have money, right? That's very
or
important.
access to it.
Money or access. There's two things you need to start real estate, okay? You need deal flow. That means you got to have deals coming in, and you need access to capital. Doesn't have to be your capital, but you have to have capital, okay? Doesn't have to be your capital, but you have to have access to capital, all right? There's a lot of people out there that are active investors or want to be active investors. You want to flip houses, you want to buy a house, you want to fix it up, you want to sell it, or you want to wholesale it, or you want to do seller finance it or rent it out. That's an active investor right there, right?
Right.
That's an active investor. You're active. You want to get into business. You want to do physical work, okay? And I don't mean necessarily rehabbing a house, but you want to do physical work as far as you want to be active in the business.
Putting the deal together, yeah. Being the mover, the shaker that's making everything happen.
Right. You are the deal flow.
Right.
You are the deal flow. So, having said that, there's also the passive investor, right? That's the person who is, maybe they're retired, maybe they're a professional, maybe they're a doctor, chiropractor, a dentist, an engineer, a business owner of some kind. Maybe they own a vacuum store, right? Maybe they own a convenience store. And they have money, they have capital, right?
Or maybe it's mattress money from the crack parties they're throwing.
Maybe. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back to back to segment 1.
Segment 1 of this episode, yeah. Get all the details.
Anyway. So basically, yeah, you throw me off all the time. Where am I? What am I talking about?
I don't know, but I was hoping that wherever you were going, it was going to lead back to capital, how it doesn't have to be your capital.
It doesn't. So there's passive investors out there.
And then active investors, right.
Active investors, and now there's passive investors. Maybe you own a business. Okay, now that's where we were. Right?
We always make it back. It's just sometimes
right?
we don't make it back in the time frame allotted.
So anyway, you might have some money sitting on the sidelines. Maybe your 401k is turned into a 101k, and you're tired of it. You're tired of the volatility of the stock market, right?
Yes, that looks dramatic.
And it is. And, and you don't want to put your money in silver or gold. You don't, and people say, gold is a hedge or silver is a hedge. And if everything goes bad, people are going to put their money in gold. No, people are going to barter if that happens.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they're going to do. So anyway, there's people out there that would like to write a check. We have those people that work with us sometimes, right?
Right.
And for example, we had a couple opportunities recently where we were able to help some investors get 8 to 10, maybe even a little bit more % return on their money.
Right.
And we had them lined up, right? We sent out an email to our list and
flooded.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. Like, is that still available? Please, I want to get my money working. My money's earning less than 1% right now, and you're going to give me 8, right? Mm-hmm. And all we do is we go out and we negotiate deep discounts on properties. We find properties, and I'm going to bring it back in.
All right.
We find properties, and then somebody else will put up the money, and then we manage it, and we can split the profits, or we can do a borrower-lender situation, that sort of thing, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So having said that, you need deal flow and you need money. The money doesn't have to be yours, right? I mean, yes, we do use our own money, but you can use OPM.
Especially when you're getting started.
Other people's money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's very simple. So you got to have money and you got to have deal flow, all right? And there's active and there's passive investors, okay? So you got to decide, am I going to be an active investor and am I going to provide the deal flow, or you want to be a passive investor and am I going to just write a check and get a monthly check, right? And then the next thing you have to do is you have to determine your model. What am I going to do in business? Okay. What am I going to do in my real estate business? Do I have money to work with? And am I going to start just investing on my own? Am I going to be active and passive? In other words, am I going to find the deals myself and use my own money, or what? Am I going to wholesale? Day trading?
What you going to do?
Yeah, what you going to do? Now what you going to do? Right? So what are you going to do? Are you going to wholesale? Or are you going to be a landlord? Are you going to do lease options? Are you going to do seller financing? Are you going to do fix and flips? Do a couple of them and you'll get over it, right? Are you going to do seller financing? Are you going to do commercial, residential, multifamily? What kind of lead sources? Are you going to work HUD, which we wrote the book on that too? Are you going to do MLS properties? How are you going to market your business? Are you going to have an enterprise business or a lifestyle business? And when we come back from the break, will I tell you about that, or are we done?
No, you won't. We're done.
Okay, so enterprise business.
We've got a bragger next.
We do?
Yeah.
All right, so enterprise business is basically that's an office with employees. A lifestyle business is Starbucks on your laptop.
There you go. And that's it.
It's your turn. It's
my turn. So if you guys give me a call, we can go into a little bit more detail about those things that he was just talking about. Since he forgot, we have a bragger coming up next segment. Give me a call, 877-LARRY-GO. Send an email to info@bragradio.com. You can check out all the past show archives on bragradio.com as well. But give me a call. I can get the Investor's Kit out to your email if you're not close enough to the office in Lake Wiley to swing by and pick up the physical version. 877-LARRY-GO. We'll be right back. Are we back? Hey, there you are. You did some kind of hand gesture. I didn't know if it was the triangle getting ready to come out or if that was us coming back or threw me there for a minute.
The double hand gesture.
The double hand gesture. Okay. The gun, too. Right? That's what you did. It's all you. It's all you. So we are back. This is the fourth segment. Brag Radio, investing in real estate to be rich and generous.
Yeah, baby.
It's my favorite. I love being able to talk to students that are actively doing real estate and able to be getting their life kind of in order. But today's guy has been at that position where he's gotten his life in order and he's able to start giving it back and paying it forward and being generous in different ways. But let's talk to him a little bit about real estate and then see how he's being generous.
The man, the legend, and the myth, live and in person.
Rod, are you there?
What's up?
I am here. I'm
There he
delighted to be on the call today. Thank you.
He has a radio voice, too. You hear that?
He does. He does. Not as good as Chad's, though.
Chad's
right, Chad?
radio voice is
Not as good as my voice.
Nothing beats that.
That's hilarious.
Well, where would you like me to start?
Well, why don't you first start and tell us a little bit about yourself, about your real estate business, and how much we have helped you grow.
All right. Very well. I'm glad to do that. I guess a bit about my background in real estate. In a certain way, I've been my whole life. When I was a kid, my parents owned a couple of fourplexes, and they didn't believe in paying me or giving me an allowance for chores. They felt that was a part of being a family member. But the fourplexes were something different. The apartment were something different. They were a business. So when I was a kid, I was the guy that cut the grass and painted the units and reamed the pipes and all that sort of thing. And
all that fun
so
stuff.
I always had cash in my pocket as a kid. It was kind of empowering and a lot of fun. I mean, went to movies. I was able to treat my friends to the movies if they couldn't go, or to Dairy Queen, or whatever it happened to be. So that just sort of developed a lifelong love with this business. And about 15 years ago, I got exposed to the wholesaling part of the residential real estate business. And, it was just kind of opened a whole new perspective on how to buy and sell real estate in a way I had just never even dreamed was possible. And it was like just finding money in the streets. I was just kind of amazed and wowed by it. So I got involved in buying a lot of distressed property and selling it as is or fixing it and reselling it. And where I got acquainted with the Goins Group, gosh, I think it goes back, maybe about 6 months ago or so. But in the past, I had always had the idea of buying and just for immediate resale one way or another. And a lot of what I would buy and resell was just as is. And it never really dawned on me. And I cannot tell you why. But the filthy riches concept never really dawned on me until I was exposed to it by getting Larry's course and going through it. And it didn't really take long to get it to do something with it and make something happen with it. I had a property. A fellow came to me, and it was in a lower income area, and he needed, bless his heart, he had fallen on some health challenges. He was going to relocate to the southwest United States, the Phoenix area, and he just needed someone who could come in, close quickly, and buy his house and help him move on, so he'd have the cash to do that. So I bought his property, and my first inclination was to turn around and wholesale it, but it was in such decent shape, it was livable. is you talk about, Larry, in your course, and needed work as far as it was dated and dingy, but it was certainly livable. And I found a fellow who was the other side of that equation. He couldn't exactly get a bank loan right now, but he did have the cash to put down on the place. He was a responsible guy, and we arranged for him to make payments, and he's been, I tell you, I mean, he calls me every month to let me know he's putting the money directly deposited in my account, and it's been going on about 3 months now, and it's been a great arrangement for him and a great arrangement for me, because now I have if you will, an annuity income off this property that will last, I suppose, up to 10 years if it goes that far. So I'm really excited about this just broadening, I guess, putting more arrows in my quiver, so to speak, and different ways to do deals and ways to make things happen and help people get in a home that wouldn't be able to get into a home otherwise.
That is awesome, and I think it's really, really great that you're doing the Filthy Riches model. You're helping somebody become a homeowner. But one thing that really stuck out to me, Rod, is that where you got the house. See, a lot of people out there listening that aren't involved in real estate investing, they really think that real estate investors are sharks. They're taking advantage of people when they're down. But this guy you got the house from, yeah, you got a good deal on it, but you helped him out of a bad situation, right?
Exactly. It helped him, really, more importantly, Larry, to move on to a place where he could enjoy the remaining years of his life. I mean, he has kidney failure. He was kind of in really failing health. And go to a place, in the southwest United States where he could enjoy a little bit of sun and fun in his life.
And you helped him do that, and that's great. That is
absolutely
awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Thank you. That's the exciting part of it. And something else you and I talked about when we were in Orlando together was, the Yarger Family Foundation, and where that kind of came about, Larry, was in this business, especially a few years ago when things were really a lot worse than they are now. I would have properties that I would come across, and unfortunately, people maybe owed too much in taxes, or they just were so dilapidated they weren't inhabitable. And the offer I gave was so low, people would say to me, if that's the best I can get for it, I would just as soon just give it away. The thought occurred to me, well, why not put something in place where people can donate that property? They get a tax deduction for doing that. I can turn around then, and I don't believe in giving them the property because I don't know, Larry, I found in life that people have to pay something when they get something to appreciate it. It doesn't have to be the market value, even in a depressed state, but at least give something in exchange for that property. And in turn, then, I would use that property can be donated to someone who can fix it up and live in it, or even more importantly, fix it and turn it to an income property for themselves. There's a lot of people out there. I think it's a shame that in our country of such vast abundance, that more people aren't able to support themselves and sustain this, just to meet the basic needs in life. So to the extent that I could help them get a property, turn it into an income property, and learn this business and learn how to become self-sufficient, and eventually get to the point where they can get back to others too, and just kind of build that cycle. That was exciting to us. So we formed the foundation. We've had people donate properties to us. We've helped others get these properties at a big discount. We'll coach them through how to fix it in a way that will turn it into an income property for them, and that really I have people that I have that have come back to me and have just thanked me time and again, and for helping them get started in real estate, because they had never thought that they could do it. They always thought it was strictly you had to have a lot of means to do it. So that's exciting to us too.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So through your foundation, you've been able to help a lot of people, both sellers of property and people who are buying property. And you're doing a model very similar to Habitat for Humanity. And, they don't give houses away. The people are making payments on those houses. And then other people donate the houses or donate the labor and material and that sort of thing for the houses or the land that they're going on. So it's really a great thing you're able to do. And I know you and I had a little bit of conversation about the foundation that you had started. And that's really a good idea, too, guys. There's a lot of ways you can do real estate. And when you get to the level that we are and that Rod is, you can create your own foundation and help people even more. So, Rod, thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate it.
Delighted, Larry, and thank you so much for inviting me. And God bless you and Kandas for what you do.
And that is going to wrap things up for today's Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. For more information about what Larry and Kandas talked about on today's show or to get a free investor's kit, call 877-LARRY-GO. That's 877-527-7946. You can also go to braggradio.com. Make sure to tune in every Saturday for Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. Larry and Kandas will show you how to invest in real estate and the many ways real estate creates the ideal investment here on News 1110 99.3 WBT.